I'm terrified. This could happen next door to my house, in my neighborhood. Like, my wife sits regularly in between the two houses and smokes late at night. This girl deserves justice. Whatever justice can be given in this world, she deserves it. My heart goes out to her family. I can't even imagine. I have a daughter myself, and I can't even imagine the grief that they're going through right now.
People are finally speaking out about the DaCara Thompson case, and baby, it's looking darker by the day. Word on the street is that Hugo Hernandez Mendez might not just be a one-time suspect. This could be part of a disturbing pattern. Why else would investigators allegedly find multiple pairs of underwear and lingerie in his room that might belong to different women? Neighbors are whispering that Hugo could be tied to other missing person cases in the area, and let's be real, there have been way too many. But here's where things get strange. Why did DaCara willingly hop into his vehicle when she had her own car, fueled up and ready to go? She could have just followed behind, no problem. Instead, she left her phone, purse, ID, money, and car sitting there like none of it mattered. That's setting off major alarms for people online. Folks are still asking, what exactly was their connection? Some even speculate on social media that DaCara might have been selling herself, but nothing's confirmed. That's why everyone is waiting for the police to finally reveal what's inside DaCara's phone, which is already in their custody. Allegedly, the details pulled from it are bone-chilling, and just when you thought it couldn't get creepier, a neighbor named Cody, who lives right next to the family, spilled some shocking tea. He claims that on the early morning of August 23rd, he stepped outside and saw something burning in Hugo's backyard. Cody swore the smell coming from Hugo's backyard wasn't your everyday burning brush. It was sharp, strange, like trash or something way more sinister. He straight up suspected that evidence might have been going up in smoke that night. Cody even told detectives about a suspicious ash pile he spotted back there, which only added to the uneasy vibes. But here's what's really haunting people. DaCara's car was sitting there untouched, yet inside that cramped house were several other people. And you mean to tell me nobody heard her? No screams, no fight, no struggle at all? And remember, she was found unclothed, not hidden or wrapped in anything, which only raises more questions about how her final moments played out.
It smells more like something you'd smell akin to like a trash burning or something like that. I would be willing to bet that they were burning evidence of some sort. I know that when I told the detectives this, I know that ash pile that was back there is no longer back there.
I'm very disappointed, finding that out now, because we may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do.
Detectives already spoke to one roommate who claimed they overheard DaCara and Hugo having intercourse. But then came a weird grunting noise that sounded off, like maybe one of them wasn't willing. Hours later, that same roommate stepped outside and noticed something eerie. The GMC that Hugo always kept parked out front was gone. Odd, because everyone in the house knew he didn't work Saturdays, and that truck almost never moved. As for the others, two roommates insisted they didn't hear or see a thing, brushing it off by saying their rooms were on the opposite side of the house. A relative living there, who also happens to be Hugo's cousin, was questioned too, but she didn't have much to add. Still, the silence in that house when something so loud and brutal may have happened has people shaking their heads in disbelief. The cousin told investigators she was stunned at the thought that her own flesh and blood could be wrapped up in something this horrifying. Still, she admitted that in the weeks before DaCara's disappearance, Hugo had been acting strange, disappearing for long stretches, barely showing his face in the house. She even confessed that she begged him to come clean if he knew anything, because the tension in that home was getting unbearable, but things only got messier. During the investigation, officers hauled in her husband, Hugo, and another relative for questioning. The two relatives were eventually let go, but Hugo wasn't released, raising eyebrows everywhere. And if that wasn't enough drama, the very next morning, federal immigration agents stormed the house again, this time arresting her husband. The cousin swore he had nothing to do with DaCara's case, claiming he fully cooperated and was blindsided by how Hugo's criminal mess somehow triggered a whole immigration case against her man. Now, people can't shake the suspicion that everyone in that crowded little house might be holding back pieces of the truth to protect themselves. Because let's be real, it's hard to convince anyone that nobody heard what was going down in Hugo's bedroom, especially when DaCara's final moments were so brutal. And here's where the tragedy hit its peak. On August 31st, just before 5 p.m., Maryland State Police got a call about a disabled car on Route 50, right between Route 424 and Route 97 in Annapolis. The vehicle was perched on a narrow bridge over the South River, but when troopers arrived, they found something chilling: a body lying on the embankment, nearly 30 feet down. Days later, on September 3rd, detectives confirmed what everyone feared. After sitting down with DaCara's family and comparing photos, they matched the remains. Her loved ones described the heartbreaking truth: DaCara suffered devastating skull and facial fractures. In the end, DaCara's family confirmed the worst. It was her. They identified her not just through those devastating injuries, but also by her tattoos and the jewelry she never took off. Her father had first reported her missing just before 9 p.m. on August 23rd, telling police he'd last seen her the night before. She had told him she was just stepping out to get gas and would be right back, but she never returned. Her dad said he tried calling when she didn't come home a short time later, but DaCara never picked up. By August 24th, panic set in. Family members tracked her phone, and its last ping led them to Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road in Hyattsville. That's where they spotted her car, abandoned, and immediately called the police. DaCara was the youngest of 5 siblings, and her family used the Find My Phone app to share their locations. When they checked her device, it showed her phone had been switched off. The last time it was on? That same Hyattsville intersection. Police later executed a search warrant, and what they found was chilling. What they believed to be DaCara's blood, along with one of her white and pink French manicured nails, strands of hair, a wig, and other evidence in Hugo's bedroom and trash. Even worse, investigators also uncovered multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie, fueling suspicions that this wasn't his first time. That's when Hugo Hernandez Mendez was arrested and slapped with first and second-degree murder charges in the gruesome death of 19-year-old DaCara Thompson. ICE piled on too, issuing a detainer and calling him a criminal illegal alien, promising DaCara's family that justice would be served. Detectives allege Hugo killed DaCara inside his bedroom in the early hours of August 23rd, then heartlessly drove her body to Route 50 in Annapolis, pulled over on that bridge, and dumped her remains into the darkness below. The case is far from over, and right now Hugo Hernandez Mendez is sitting in jail with no bond, waiting for his next court date on October 8th. But here's the kicker. Plenty of people believe he shouldn't be the only one facing charges. Neighbors and online sleuths are pointing fingers at the other folks living under that same roof, saying they should be hit with accessory charges too. Think about it. DaCara's nail was ripped off, meaning she was fighting back hard, and a fight that brutal would have been loud. Walls that thin don't hide screams or struggles, so how could everyone else in the house claim they didn't hear a thing? Sure, some of them gave small details to detectives, but the public is convinced there's a bigger cover-up in play, and whispers around the block, they go way past DaCara's case. Some locals believe Hugo could be tied to other disappearances in the area, and with several unsolved cases on record, the thought alone has people spooked. That suspicion only blew up when investigators reportedly found multiple pairs of lingerie and underwear in his room, like twisted trophies kept as souvenirs. For a neighborhood already rattled by mysterious vanishings, that discovery hit like a smoking gun. Now the big question, will more women be identified through the evidence pulled from that house? The community is holding its breath. And to make matters worse, people can't believe Hugo was even walking free to begin with. This wasn't his first brush with the law. The man's rap sheet includes multiple DUIs. As if that wasn't reckless enough, he also got slapped with an open container violation, cruising around with booze in his car like he was on a never-ending road party. Add in his reckless driving, blasting through red lights, skipping stop signs, parking wherever he felt like. And it paints the picture of someone who lived life with zero rules. That's not even counting the way he flat-out ignored traffic control signs and drove like rules were just suggestions. Add in his wild, unsafe lane changes, and what you've got is a walking hazard on wheels. And the wildest part? At one point, Hugo was actually busted driving on a suspended license. That right there shows you the mindset. This is a man who truly thought laws didn't apply to him. DaCara's mom even spoke out, saying she was heartbroken and furious that someone with that kind of record was ever allowed to be free in the first place. Her words echo what so many in the community feel, that this tragedy could have been prevented if the system hadn't let him slip through over and over again. So make sure you like, share, and drop a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to Star T for more updates.